This week, huh?
We didn't. We're live.
Woo, woo, woo. Okay, here we are. Here we are. And we're going to do our real quick disclaimer up front just to protect the innocent.
We're innocent.
We discuss topics pulled from online and or news sources. Our podcast is a discussion between two business owners. Our views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are our own. The material and information presented is for informational purposes only. We do not imply endorsement or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. After that, we move on, ladies and gentlemen. So, how's your move coming along?
Okay, so that half of the office packed up. This half is present, not. I do have to remove my drink bottle from my other.
From the other show, yeah, the drunkie show.
Actually, no. Me and Gladys were on a podcast yesterday that someone who does a food like a bucket list type show, and they asked us to come on because of the fact of what our topic is, and they wanted us to come on and do a show for National Tequila Day, so we did. Gladys and I, in the middle of our day, have to pour tequila, eat some chips. Life was rough, I'm telling you. And Gladys and I talked on the phone afterwards. It's like, really, for the two of us, we didn't drink all that much stuff during this other person's podcast, but basically talked about how we formulated the podcast. That was it. So,
very cool.
And it is a fun podcast. Oh, I still have my lemons and limes here, though.
Oh, lovely.
So
lovely, lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
We don't drink on this show. Sorry. Although you don't know what's in this.
Not at all. So.
We're kind of both in the same boat, so to speak. You're moving, and we're going to get moving here probably in September. Our house is getting close to being completed, and I'll have a nice office instead of this backdrop.
Yeah, that's the other thing is we get into our house. What's today? The 21st. It's about a month from now. We get into our new house. We close on it next week, but we don't get in for 3 weeks. We gave this couple, the lady who's living there. She has a handicapped mom and a wheelchair and everything. And I'm like, take your time. I get it. It's not going to be a quick move out. And I assume they were selling the house because of the fact that, it's a lot of house for a lady who's a caretaker of her mother. I mean, I looked at the overwhelm of this poor lady's life, and I'm thinking, she's probably trying to find something smaller, but she doesn't have to take care of, almost an acre of land. All right, a garage, a spare house, and I'm betting the spare house, all right, the cottage was probably something her mom lived in before she got worse. And I don't know. I'm only assuming on what's going on. But I'm like, I got to give this lady time. So, I mean, one of the things we wrote when we wrote the offer, we originally wrote 2 weeks without even asking. We wrote, take 2 weeks to move out, right?
Very nice.
And they wrote back and asked, would you be willing to do 3 weeks? And we're like, yeah. Because, first of all, we have family members who said, Gloria, yeah, come stay with us.
No problem.
Yeah, but I took on a job with my wife in Chicago during during that time. So we will move out of here. We don't have to be out of here till the 9th, but we'll be out of here on the 7th and have a cleaning crew come through on the 8th and the 9th and then turn over the keys. On the 10th, I get on a plane and go to Chicago for 10 days.
Woohoo!
I'm there for 10 days, helping my wife's company with something that I have a specialty on, and the CEO, Justin, when he heard I had the specialty on, he's like, yes, we will pay for Tim to come up and be part of this.
Nice.
I don't know what I'm getting paid other than I know that I will not probably have to buy food. I don't have to pay for a hotel for 10 days. And I'm probably going to eat some Chicago hot dogs because I'm not into Chicago pizza.
You don't like Chicago pizza?
I'm not a Chicago pizza fan. I'm
deep dish.
I am a thin crust guy from New York.
Deep dish. It's all about the pie.
I can't do a show with you anymore. That's it. It's over. Bye. Yeah.
I like either one. I like the pizza pie, where's the deep dish. I like the New York pizza. I just like pizza.
Yeah, the deep dish. All right, maybe like some of the brands that do it. Right, your Papa John's, your Domino's, your Pizza Huts. I like theirs because theirs is not really deep dish, like real Chicago deep dish.
Yeah.
Those are kind of an in between the two on crusts. I like those, but like I don't know if you remember, there used to be a restaurant out there called Pizzeria Uno that was authentic Chicago deep dish pizza, and they had a chains all over America. I did not like that. All right, I to me that is just not the pizza I love, but they have, and I know I will go to this restaurant while I'm up there, and we're not right in town, we're out of town, but I will drive or take an Uber or whatever, because there is a hot dog place that is 2-story restaurant. All right, and when you walk in, there's 3 lines to get to the ordering.
Wow.
And we're talking lines that you can fit 4 people wide, 3 of them.
Wow. For a hot dog?
For hot dogs.
Hot dog.
But like their menu for hot dogs, all right, makes McDonald's menu look like
Off
kids.
the chart.
Yeah,
Off the
it's
chart.
out there. I'm going there. I'm just saying, I'm going there.
You know, well, we might even pass in the night because I will be in Illinois, not Chicago, but I'll be in Jacksonville, Illinois, which is a little ways away, but we'll be out there for my son's wedding on the 22nd of August.
Yeah, I'll be back home by then.
Yeah, you'll be back home, but the fun.
I actually looked into, and I said to Glenn, I said I was almost going to drive up.
Oh, that's a long ass drive, dude.
No, it's not. It's less than 2 days.
That's still any more than 1 day is a long ass drive for me. Too long. To be in the car with my husband that long? No.
No, I didn't say I was taking my wife with. I said I was driving.
No.
You give me 3 days. You give me 2 days in the car by myself. I'm in heaven.
And it's okay. Yeah. But to hear just, God damn, get out of the way. Ah! Yeah. The road rage. Oh my, the road rage.
I don't. Well, I will say that depending on what road you're on, like because I know going up through Illinois is on 44, up through Missouri and Illinois on 44. That's a busy highway and it's a thin, busy highway. But personally, the highway I love driving across by myself, I-40, and we're talking I-40 from California till about to Texas, maybe into Oklahoma. You go past Oklahoma City, all right, towards Memphis. I don't want to be on it. You go through Tennessee. I really I-40.
Not good.
Yeah, it's just too overcrowded. I-40 is in Tennessee. It's just because it's everything converges to the center of the country there, and it's just tough. So, Mom, hey Tim, can you start Tuesday at 9 to take things to storage unit? It looks like my mom's texting me. Like the boys will only have Tuesday morning for that job.
Sure thing, Mom. Sure thing,
yeah,
Mom.
Right, I'm getting on that, Mom.
We'll do, Mom. We'll do, Mom.
You think I'm getting up at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday? Come on.
No. So I found an interesting topic for today that seems to be in the news all over the place. And that is everybody's talking about it's they're either considering a depression or a recession that we're heading towards because of the after effects of COVID or whatever, where we were sequestered and couldn't go out or whatever the case may be. But personally, I don't know about you, but my business has really been ramping up while everybody's saying, oh my God, there's a recession. So I don't know. I mean, I wanted to get your take on this, on whether you think it's hype or if it's something that we should really be concerned about. I mean, I went through the recession in 2007. We had a recession in the 80s. And supposedly this is supposed to be as bad as 2007, if not worse. But then we go through a recession every, 50, 60 years? Pretty much.
Well, 2007 to 2022. All right. That's not quite 50 years. I'm just saying.
No, but supposedly this is happening sooner because of what we were put into regarding the whole COVID shutdown and everything. Normally,
I don't think it was COVID. I don't think it was COVID. I was thinking it was because we had one idiot in office and we replaced him with another idiot in office.
Well,
Just my
I
opinion.
think the whole idiots in
Yeah.
DC. I mean,
We
there's not just
decided
one.
we were going to try
There's a whole
both
bunch of them.
spectrums of idiots.
Yeah,
We're going
there's
to
a
do
whole
idiots
bunch
on
of
either
them.
side. Yeah.
There's
And
not just one. Let's
Yeah.
just make that clear. There's a whole bunch of them.
All right. Well, no. I want and not to be political, but my mom and I were talking about this. She's seen something with my mom or somebody seen something with Newt Gingrich where he did a talk, and he talked about the 90s with working with Clinton. And he said him and Bill Clinton had a talk many, many times. They disagreed on a lot of stuff, but the one thing they agreed on is we should never go to the far left, what Clinton wanted, and they should go for the far right, that Newt wanted. And he said because both of them would be bad for the country. And he said we had to go into everything we did with a negotiation tactic because we both believed going to the extreme of what we wanted was not good for the country. We may like it, but it's not good for the country.
Very
and
true.
what we have had, and it's not Trump's fault, it's not Biden's fault. It goes back to Obama. I hate to say this, guys. It goes back to Obama. All right, with extremes, we've played the extremes, and then we took Trump to the other spring, and now we're driving Biden back.
Yeah,
and
instead of that happy medium.
Yeah, we are never going to come out of it. We are never going to come out of an up and down situation until we learn to get back to a Bill Clinton, Newt Gingrich type situation. And it doesn't necessarily mean we need a Democrat in office and a Republican. It could be a Democrat running the House and a Republican running the president. And we don't understand is when the person leading the House and the person in the White House can sit down and realize that we need to keep the country on a central track.
Yeah,
that is the Bill Clinton, all right, Newt Gingrich, whether you liked Bill or you liked Newt, doesn't matter. That was their point of view. And that is why we're in recession type things, is because we want to ping pong off of extremes.
Yep. But if you think about it, we've done extremes even before Obama. We've had extremes going, especially when it comes to politics.
Yeah. We started to get extremes with the people who are mad at Bush, and then we went to really, Bush was again, not to play which favorites. Bush was a guy who was the same thing. He wanted to keep it. He knew that going to the extreme one side was bad. And he wanted to keep it. And he was known coming into office when he was elected that, I'm a bipartisan person. I'm here to work with both. All right. And not, not to play the politics in this, but this is where we've gotten when we play this extreme game. We end up with a situation where now with the recessions. And we're going to see more of that.
And I think part of those politics too, and going back to Obama, personally, my take on that is that even though Obama was a Democrat, he was dealing with a House that was all Republican.
He was.
And everything he tried to push through for the most part was nope, not going to go through. Nope, not going to pass it. And if you talk to Bonner, who was the speaker at that time, in his mindset, he was not going to pass anything because as far as he was concerned, Obama was going to be a one-term president. And that was it.
And again, that's where it started. When two people are going to sit there and stand there, I'm standing my ground. I'm not doing it. Great.
Yeah, that doesn't help any of us.
Yeah, you just sent the country into we've got 16 years now.
Yep.
Of bullshit because the two of you don't want to stand up and be a man.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. All right. But that's the way it is. All right. We don't realize that those extremes is what causes these situations in our business. Now, am I affected? All right. I have always believed in create your own economy. All right. And I actually had a man, I remember 2008, I ran this men's Bible study every morning. And we had a gentleman who came in one morning and he had a networking group in the other meeting room of this restaurant right after our meeting. So he would stop in and visit us. And the guys in our meeting were all, they were huge George Bush fans. They were huge Republicans. And they all said, oh man, this is going to be bad, 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 bad. And this man sat there and he said, listen, whether I like him or don't like him, here's the good news. This is America. You create your own economy.
Yep.
And if you sit there and think that, and this is for both sides, all right? So if you're on the right side or the left side and you think the world is bad, you create your own economy. It doesn't matter who's in charge. When you let them, the news, the social media, the president, when you let them affect your beliefs, yes, it's going to be real.
Yep.
When you
it's hype. And that's what I really want to talk about this on this topic, is that I know a lot of business owners, and they're saying small business owners are starting to pull back and blah, blah, blah. And I personally, I don't believe that. I feel that when something like this happens, small business owners dig in deeper, they put their feet in the ground, and they start saying, okay, what do we do? What do we do? Start getting things moving, get this going, get that going. And I think as an economy, as with all the people out there, it's a mindset. It's like you said, whether you're looking at the news or social media or whatever you want, your mindset is what your life is based on.
Yeah.
Your mindset. So if you're going to fall into that trap, you fall into that trap. So it's kind of, and it's ironing me to no terms, because they're constantly talking about everything is the recession and the housing's going da, 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 da. It's like, stop with the fear. And I think that's the biggest thing, especially with politics and with news and so on and so forth. It's all based on fear. Fear.
Fear sells.
See how much fear we can see out there.
Fear sells.
Yep. It does. And the thing is there were people even during COVID that made more money when people were sequestered at home than they made in their whole years before that.
Well,
in some respects,
you and I did, because of the fact that all of a sudden we weren't traveling to go all these conferences.
Exactly.
All right.
And we saved a lot of money in that respect.
I love our buddy Craig. All right. But let me, for example, all right, it cost me a lot of money to travel to his conferences in California all the time. That was a cost that was removed, right? When you take certain things out, all of a sudden there's a profit margin because you didn't spend. But there's also less tax deductions.
Yeah. Well, that's true too. But I mean, it weighs itself out to a certain degree. But there were still a lot of businesses out there that did really well during that time frame. They adapted. And I think that's the big thing with small business as regards to entrepreneurs. I think we adapt really well. Yeah. We have to. We've talked about the roller coaster ride and going up the hill and around the corners. And okay, so let's prepare. Let's do what we can so that we can go along with the flow. And I think that as entrepreneurs, I think the government, basically, in my mindset, they should be looking at the entrepreneurs on how to run the country. I think that would be a lot better.
Well, we put one in office and people didn't like him. So
yeah, that's true. We put the wrong entrepreneur in office.
Okay.
We want an entrepreneur that hasn't filed bankruptcy 5 times. We want one that's actually successful.
Wait a minute. No. Though there's truth to that bankruptcy, but that's business bankruptcy. He never filed personal bankruptcy. And so many people confuse that. The bankruptcy laws for business
is different than the bankruptcy
much different. All right. And if you think that just he did it, there's other people out there that did it. The reason is he just was public and said, no, I did. And there's laws out there to protect you in business when business goes bad. That's what the bankruptcy are. But personal bankruptcy, he never filed personal bankruptcy. And I know people who filed personal bankruptcy pointing fingers at him. Well, I only filed bankruptcy once. Yes, personal bankruptcy.
Personal bankruptcy as opposed to.
He filed business bankruptcy, which is a total different thing, to get out of a corporate deal gone bad, right? And I thank God those laws are in place every day. But yes, his businesses did declare bankruptcy, but still, he's the only entrepreneur to ever occupy that office. Like it or not, he is the only one.
Well, let's talk. So most of the presidents that have occupied the office have been lawyers, right?
Career politicians. Career politicians.
Yes, but most of them, if you think about it, started out as lawyers.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of our laws and bills and so on and so forth that are written are in such a way that most of us hear mumbo jumbo. huh? Because they do the legal terminology that confuses. Like with when we've got things on the ballot, do I say yes or do I say no? I'm not quite sure what this means. So a lot of people say
because you have the marketing commercials for each side explaining
yes.
how the world's going to end if you vote the other way. Yeah.
Yeah. My motto is if I don't understand it, I usually say no, which is what a lot of them depend on. To believe it or not. A lot of them depend on you saying no instead of yes to a certain degree. But I mean, it's everywhere in regards to this topic and recession. And I thought it was interesting how some people are saying, no, we're not going into recession. It's just a little bit of a slump. We're going to get past it. And other people are saying, oh my God, button up the windows, do whatever you can, hold on to your money. It's like you got one side and the other.
Even if we went into another depression like we had in the 1920s, right? The smart people, and this is something I have heard my entire life, and I'm going to repeat it on here. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry, people. This is something. This is just one of those groundbreaking things you should remember in your life.
Yes.
If we took all the money in the world and we divided it up evenly with everybody, within 2 years, the people who have all the money now will have it back.
Because they know how to do it.
Because they know how to do it. The successful people are going to search and find ways. It's like we said, mindset. They're going to find ways to get themselves out of this. Yeah. The people who are just going to go, well, I want Tim and Katrina to tell me what to do, are going to be the failures.
Is there an easy button?
If you're waiting on my instruction, dude, you're going to fail.
Yeah. There's an easy button. An easy button. I want the easy button.
The easy button. There is no easy button in life.
No. Or business. Either one. There's no easy button. You got to work your butt off. And that's what people don't understand a lot of times is they see these people and how successful they are and they're doing so well and they think, oh, well, they probably were born into it. No, they worked their ass off. It's just you didn't see them working their ass off. You didn't see it until they were already successful. They were already making that money. And you just make that assumption, oh, well, no.
Yeah, there are millionaire and billionaire families, all right? And I remember reading this because I've studied businesses along the way. And one of the businesses I studied because it was a unique business model and I was involved in for a while was the Amway business and the multi-level marketing or network marketing, as they call it today, model.
I was in Amway.
Yeah. The model of Amway was a successful model, but it was grounded and led by successful leaders. And what I mean by that is the two gentlemen who founded that company, their kids, even though their kids could inherit a $4, $5, $6 billion company, whatever it was when their kids came of age, their kids had to work every job in that business before they could take a leadership role. And the gentleman, like it's one of the founders' sons is like the leader of it now, right?
Yeah.
He had to go through every role in that company, from loading the trucks on the dock to answering the phones for customer service to all that stuff before he could take on that role.
Yep.
And then, and then he had to go off and create his own company before he came back. Most people don't know that. That's where we build mindset in our kids. You want to make your kids recession proof? Teach them that. But what do? We teach our kids from our own fears.
Yeah.
Well, I bought a house in Dallas, Texas once, and that didn't work out. So maybe you shouldn't. That was 40 years ago, and Dallas was in a bad, state at the time when you bought your house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I moved out to the country once, and that farm just collapsed, probably because you weren't educated on how to raise cows
or to do the crops. I mean, as you know. You've got to have backup plan because sometimes weather,
crops, and that's what we're not looking at. And this is where the business, all right, the recession-proof mindset comes into fact when you're starting to plan things out in a way that you know that I'm going to find a way. Not there is a way. I'm going to find a way.
Find a way.
Yeah. One of the coolest things I got, I signed up for. I think it was Brian Tracy's email list just like weeks before I met my wife, Gwen. And he used to send out, I don't even know if I'm on Brian Tracy's list because I've switched email addresses now. But Brian Tracy used to send out like a quote of the day. And I thought about doing this. And the quote that I got like the day or two after I met Gwen was the Thomas Edison quote. Most people have no idea how close they were to success when they gave up.
Mm-hmm.
And Gwen and I put that down as a foundation for our relationship when that came out.
A lot of people, well, and then there's also that cartoon where you see the guy, he's digging and he's digging and he's digging and he's digging. You see the gold on the other side and he's got this much to go and he walks away.
That's too hard. I give up.
I'm done. I give up. I'm done. And they say, and I believe in this truly, they say that when you feel like everything's against you and you're ready to give up, that's when you're the closest.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you shouldn't give up, because that's when you're the closest. That's when all of a sudden it hits.
My friend Rob Skiba, who passed away last year, bless his heart, and his great son Jeremiah is trying to actually carry on his message, as well as his wife Sheila. But Rob used to say to me, we used to have these private conversations, Rob and I, and he used to say to me, Tim, if you give up, that means everything you went through all the crap you went through to get to this point, you did it for nothing.
Yeah, as a way.
You keep going through the crap to get to the reward. If you give up now, you're giving up before you get rewarded for going through. And you went all that crap, you went through it for nothing.
Yep.
Right. And like I said, in my personal life, I'm dealing with a challenge that is like, a shit show being crapped on top of me. Right. And I'm trying to keep a positive attitude into it, because basically, and I sat, at Craig's thing last week with Glenn Morshower, and Glenn says, Tim, this is a message going to be your message. You know that, right? And like having Glenn tell me that, I was like, oh my God, here's a successful actor. Having him go, Tim, you understand that this is shit right now, but this mess you're going through is a new message that you're going to carry on.
Yeah.
And you've got to go through this mess to carry on that message. Only way through it. I'm like,
very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. You got to go through the shit before you got to go through the manure before you start to see the flowers blooming.
Yes. Unfortunately. Yeah, anyway.
Crap.
So let me ask you this. All right. You know what I mean? And we put this out to the listeners. All right. What are you doing, listeners? What are you doing? And if this keeps getting worse, what are you doing to help you carry through this? What's your plan to carry through this? You know what I mean? Because it's during recessions and hard times that some of the most successful businesses and ideas that change the world are created.
Yep.
So what is your plan? Really, I would love our listeners, all right, whether you listen to this live or you listen to this thing and the replay, put it in the comments. Tell us something that you're doing that if things get worse, will carry you through. I'd love to know it. What do you got? You got anything that you're thinking about? If it gets worse, what am I going to do?
Well, of course, mine is my mindset, but I'm starting to put things together in regards to services that I can start to provide for my clients. I've got different price points. So based on what their needs are, we have the price points that they can manage and still move forward. But part of that, though, too, is I've been educating my clients and making them realize that the biggest thing that businesses have done, that's the biggest error, especially in 2007, is they cut down on their marketing.
Yeah.
And the thing is and we talked about this, you can't cut down on your marketing, because then now nobody knows you're still around. And a lot of businesses that cut down on their marketing lost business and lost everything, because people thought, well, they're not around. They must have just like all the other businesses, they must be gone. You have to keep putting it out there. We're here to help you. We're here to do this. We're here to do that. And that's part of it. And this whole marketing thing, that's the first thing they cut back on: training and marketing. And those are the two key things they should not be cutting back on. Should not. That's what I would do. And so I'm marketing more for myself. I'm getting team members to help me market more and so forth. So, and I've actually, this is my best month so far, because we started pushing out more in regards to social media. I've had the best month so far. So it does work.
Cool. So, yeah. And when I look at what I'm doing in my marketing and how I have to tweak it more as things get tougher. to market. But I looked at my whole plan on this thing, Katrina, and go, man, if it gets worse, what are the things? How am I going to manage my life so it's not worrisome to keep the business going?
Yeah.
And Craig Duswalt did something with me many, many years ago. When I started doing this condo, I was buying this condo, and I had a small 1-bedroom condo we were living in, and we had other rentals, right? And we sold off one of our rentals, and then bought this house, and we were renovating it. And this, for us, it was going from the tiny, comfortable zone to a bigger zone, right? And we looked at it and went, wow, what if things don't work out? And I sat with Craig, and Craig says, Tim, I want you to write down, all right, a world goes to hell plan for your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And I forget what he called it. He called it something like, you know what I mean? He called it something.
Yeah, he sat me down and did the same thing. What if the worst happens or something of that nature? What would you do?
Worst possible scenario. I think he called it.
Yeah. What is the worst possible thing that could happen today? What's the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah. And when he had us do that, all right, we own. I recently have sold all my rentals, and I'm transitioning to buy all new, right? But I had a rental that I'd owned since 2009 that I owned outright, and it was a small 700 square foot house, our condo, second floor, that had one covered parking spot with it, right, in a community over by UT Dallas, and I owned it outright. And I was going to rent out my other unit that I used to live in. And I was building this one. And I said to him, I said, well, Craig, I says, if it got bad enough, I could rent this unit out enough to pay for it. And I could go live in the one that I own outright, right? The cheapest one possible. I could live into it and deal with it for a year or two. All right. While I got myself back on my feet, and it would cover all my bills. And staying in that place would cost us, I think it would have cost us maybe $200 a month to live in it, right?
Yeah.
That would have been our cost to live there.
Yeah.
And I says I could do that, and it would be very inexpensive. I could almost work at McDonald's and still afford to live there, right? Luxuriously by living at McDonald's, right? And he said, if that's your worst case scenario, like then what are you worried about?
I agree. He took me through the same thing, and we were talking about, we had a big house in Thousand Oaks that was worth a lot, and we could have sold. And I told my husband, what's the worst? We sat down and talked about it, and he said, well, what if we lose the house? I said, I don't think we would. We could sell it, or we could even take a second out on it, whatever. We could rent it. I mean, there were so many options. We could bring in renters. We could do so many options that could keep us going. I had like a whole sheet of them. Yeah. And once we looked at that, and he said, oh, okay, we're going to be fine. Yeah, because when we went through the recession of 2007, I mean, we decimated my 401k just trying to keep up, because I started my business in 2007. So we lost that income. And then my husband got almost half cut on his income. So it was, trying to manage everything. And I mean, we managed, we did it. And we did much better than a lot of people did. But we set ourselves up so that we could, when we put ourselves in that house, we set ourselves up with the intent that only one income would be paying on that house. Yeah. Even though we had two incomes coming in. Otherwise, we couldn't have done it. But we did it. We went in with that intent. And with the new house, we paid the majority of that house off. So our what we have in regards to a loan is so small, we'll be paying less for that house payment than what we're paying right now in this apartment.
I know that's the thing with our new place, that we're taking on a sizable mortgage that we've not had, and one of the reasons why we're doing it, we could easily take a lot of the money we have and pay down and have a very low payment, but we decided to put the minimal amount down, and for the first time, we're not doing a 15-year mortgage, we're doing a 30-year mortgage. And what we're doing with it is we're taking all that extra money we have and we're buying investment properties with it. Yeah. So within a year, our investment properties will be paying for most of our lifestyle.
And that's what we're going to be doing down the line too, is we're going to start buying some property out here, because it's starting to build and it's starting to grow out here. And we'll just sit on it. And then when that time comes, we either sell it or we build on it, whatever. But that's what we're going to be doing later down the road too. So and that's how you make your wealth pretty much is with property and investments and that type of thing. So it's just a matter of looking at things. And like we said, what's the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
Is it really, what is that worst case scenario? For some people, it could be worse than others, but for the most part, what's your worst case scenario? And you plan for that so that if that's where you're at, then that's where you're at. But it's still a mindset. It's still about getting your mind right. So that way you're not even going through that. You're doing well. You're going up as everyone else may be going down because you've changed your mindset. Exactly. That's what I believe. That's what I truly believe. It's a mindset. Yeah. Total mindset.
Yeah. So I mean, with that, I mean, you guys, we plan on we change our mindset. All right. We then go out and do marketing to get more business. All right. And we take action. So I'm not saying you're going to totally recession proof your life, but you are going to be in control.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing is like, I mean, the world may be tough going on around you, but you got to be in control. And, we were talking, my mom and I were talking in the car today about something that Gary Vee does that I always have thought interesting. Gary Vee does this interesting thing where he tells people, go to yard sales and buy stuff, but take your phone and put the eBay app onto it and look at that, whatever you're looking at the yard sale and see what it's selling for on eBay. So you can buy it at the yard sale for 25 cents and it may be selling for $5.95 on eBay. So that's a $5. I mean, that's a huge profit you're going to make on it. All right. Granted, there's work to be doing with that, but it's something. Yeah. I personally did very well in the stock market over the past 10 years because of the fact I got in 2008 when I had money in there when things were going down. So I was able to buy at the bottom and as things came back up. Right. And most people don't realize, well, yeah, but I don't have a lot of money. I started with $1,000 in there. And I think my one portfolio that I started with $1,000 was worth $14,000 now. At one point, it was worth over 20 before this year in our recession started. It dropped down. Well, no, hold on. Let me go look real quick. No, it's back up to 17,000. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
But during the 2020 with the pandemic, it dropped from 20,000 to 9,600, and then went right back up. That's where, all right, we sit sometimes and we go, well, yeah, but I don't like. That was one of the advantages I looked at, whether because I didn't like loudmouth, but anyway, loudmouth, orange man. Anyway, but that was where the market felt. I don't know. Yeah, in my opinion, the market felt that there was leadership there is why it bounced back. Yeah, there is people in the market who are why the market's down and it's going to take a while because they don't have that same confidence in Biden yet. If Biden gets a second term, it will rise up.
Yeah.
All right. And that's just business. That's not dislike Biden. That's just because Biden didn't have a track record of being a leader yet. And he still doesn't. Right. After this, I should say after these midterm elections, the business leaders will have a better trust as to how he's going to be a better leader. And that you will watch things go up in the second half of his term. That's just being honest and not being dislike of Biden. That's just the way business looks at a president. They did the same thing with Obama. They did the same thing with George Bush. They did the same thing with Clinton, right? Yeah. They don't know what kind of leader. The only reason they did that with Trump was he was a well-known business leader. All right. He had examples of business leadership. That's the only reason, whether you like him or dislike. That's the only reason why that worked for him as president and why it didn't work. I want to think the only other president it kind of worked with was Reagan, because Reagan had a history of leadership before he got there.
Yeah, because he was leading California, the state of
California. Clinton kind of had that because he was leading Arkansas, but there was a lot of people who looked down at, well, Arkansas is that tiny state. You know what I mean? Whereas
it's not very
big state, and it's like George Bush was a big state, but he still didn't get what Reagan got.
No. Well, and I think what people don't realize too, and this is something I didn't even realize until I I did some research that anytime a president comes into office, a brand new president, the first 2 years is a wash because those first 2 years are sometimes they're from the previous presidency.
Yeah,
Because
well,
things don't go into place right away. A lot of times they take time. So those first 2 years are a wash. Then the next 2 years it starts to pick up a little bit. And so some cases they get a second term because people start to get more trust, like you
be
said.
more trust in him. Yeah.
And then the second term, they can do more because now those things are already starting to go into play.
Yeah.
So that's what people don't realize is the first 2 years of any presidency, it's a wash.
Yeah, you're gonna have problems. All right, Trump was just the oddity. He was the oddity in that, guys.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just you want to say all you want about how good he was. He's an oddity.
Yes, but he was also the kind too where I'm just going to do it. I don't care if anybody says they like it or not. I'm just going to sign this in and I'm going to do it.
Well, Biden does that too, but he's not as aggressive, so people don't notice it.
No, yeah,
that's the other thing. He's not an out there in your face leader, so people don't notice that he's doing it. All right, Obama was kind of like that, but Obama was more of a people person. Like he had a way about him, and he had a way about him of making people like what he was saying, and you know, and I've heard like, you know, NLP bullshit about that with Obama, but you know, he was more likable in everything he did. Biden's not likable because we don't know him. He was always the quiet guy.
Well, and he was always the one in the background. He was always the one that was there to help lift whatever person was in leadership.
Yeah.
And we saw him as the vice president with Obama. We didn't see him do a lot of stuff because he was in the background. Yeah. And so you don't get to see that leadership piece. But I mean, just with anything, it's a matter of schematics and what's, you know, and the house. And I mean, there's so many things going on that we can't blame one person for all of the things, because there's a whole House and a whole Senate that has all these people that are involved in all of these decisions that take place.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's it. It's not just Biden or you know, Trump or Obama that sits there and make a decision. No, there's a lot that goes into effect before they can make a law. There's a lot of people think, well, this is Obama's fault or this is Biden's fault. No, it's not. It's the progress of our country, right? Yeah. And it takes time for anything to be done. But when something becomes law, it takes time for that to affect and come into effect, right?
Exactly.
And we don't see that. And there's a lot of things that, like, the successes or downturns, all right, or are, you know, that's why you usually see after this is the advantage we had really through Clinton, Bush, Obama, was the fact that we had 3 two-term presidents in a row. And what that does when you get a 2-term president is all right, because things build up on the end of the second term. All right. And it goes into, you get a ride of success.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? You get to see what they've put in place, how it's starting to.
Yeah. Because some of the stuff affects after they're gone. All right. And that's it. We don't realize is now it's starting to affect. And that's what is, and if Biden's another 1-term president, we're going to face another up down because of the fact think about the up down of Carter, Bush.
Yeah.
Senior. All right.
Ford, who was kind of forced.
Ford wasn't really the only unelected president of America.
I know, but still.
Ford, all right. You know what I mean? We felt, I mean, you look forward into Carter. That was part of Carter's downturn was what Ford left him.
Yeah.
Carter's downturn, you know what I mean? The reason we came back from it is we had 2 bad presidents in a row, and then we had Reagan, right? Then we went into Bush, who really... George Bush Sr., I don't know if many of you know this. I read stuff about George Bush Sr. where basically he did not want to run against Clinton because he wanted 1 term and he wanted the lead. That's all he wanted. And he really didn't have his heart into it, and it showed.
Yeah.
And it showed in everything he did. All right. Whereas you looked at Clinton. Clinton had a dream and a goal. When you look at the pictures of him meeting Kennedy as a kid, he had a dream and a goal to lead. That's why he driven on past things like that. Yeah. Most of us don't see that. And, you know, that's what part of why Bush's crap just fizzled out.
Yeah.
Right?
He didn't want to.
So.
However way you look at it, everybody has a side.
Everybody does.
Everybody has.
Good side, bad side. So
Yeah, everybody has a side, but
let's move into our second topic here. We've got because I don't believe in it. I don't believe this information you've gotten.
No, here's the thing. No,
this is an opinion, not fact, right?
No, it's actually they took 300 participants and they did this study. Now, how they come up with this money to do these studies is beyond me, but they took 300 participants, they had them in a shopping mall, and those that drank caffeinated coffee spent more money on higher priced items than those that drank just water and decaffeinated coffee. Why? I don't know, but they feel scientifically it has something to do with the brain and how the caffeine affects the brain and turns something on so that now they look at things differently. I have no idea, but I just thought, what? What? You're telling me that if I go have caffeinated coffee in the shopping mall, I'm going to spend more money?
No, well, why do you think Starbucks? Anyway, no, I had this. I worked. I worked when I was a young teen. My dad's best friend growing up owned a trash company, a family trash company, Pocono Sanitation, and I worked trash company. So we had this guy working at the trash company who he made this statement to us all the time. All right, he was one of those guys who talked like this all the time, everywhere he went. Right, and he used to say to us, he used to say, "You're not a man until you can be able to drink a shot of Old Spice aftershave and still stand up." He would make stupid statements like that, and I'm like, that's all I think about. Like, when you say this, is like some old man going, "Come on, it takes a real man to drink caffeinated coffee." None of that wussy decaf stuff.
I just thought, first of all, why would you do this as a scientific project?
Because you're bored.
I just thought, wow. I mean, and then so if you think back, if you went shopping at the shopping mall and you drank caffeinated coffee, did you spend more money? Seriously?
No. Who's the fools who volunteered for this study?
I know. It's like, okay, now I'm going to go spend money. I thought,
how did they get them? They're getting out of their car, all right? And I got a guy come up with a clipboard going,
"Hey, would you be willing to be
interested in a survey today about coffee?
Would you be willing?
Would you be willing to drink coffee before you go shopping? What kind of coffee do you drink?" Well,
and then when you're done,
yeah,
come back and show us your receipts so that we can do the study.
Okay, what about the half calf people? What did they do?
I was like, really? This was a study? I was laughing so hard. I said, we got to bring this up because this is hilarious.
Wait a minute, but it was 300 people. What mall did they do this in? Because have you been to a mall lately? 300 people at a mall is a crowd.
They're dead. I know. I mean, at the mall in our area, our old town in Thousand Oaks, they're looking at doing dual zoning so that they're going to have housing on the top and shopping on the bottom because malls are dying. They're just, people don't go to malls anymore. They do everything online. So for the most part.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story about malls from my younger brother, Nathan. Come on.
I need to have a story.
Show, right?
You always have stories.
All right. No, I know. I always have stories. Life is full of stories. So my youngest brother, Nathan, we grew up he grew up kind of like to his teen years. We lived in Southern Pennsylvania where I graduated, but then my parents moved back to the Poconos when he was would have been like 10th grade. So we grew up around King of Prussia Mall, which at the time was like the largest mall in America, right? And then it went to like the 7th largest mall, but that's where we lived. So Nathan and my mom and dad and Nathan and my brother Jim, they moved to the Poconos, and they're going down Interstate 80, and they see a sign that says, Stroud Mall, the largest mall in the Poconos. So my brother Nathan's like, we got to go there. We got to go there. All right. And he gets there and he walks through the mall in like 3 minutes. He comes out and he goes, "I'm in hell."
In hell? Why, there's too much?
Because there's nothing in it. I mean, you could walk through the mall in 3 minutes. It's that small, right?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Wait a minute. Same mall. I moved to Texas in 1998, but I'm up there in 1999 to help my mom move stuff, right? And in 1999, the biggest story in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, was this that Stroud Mall and the county that they lived in was getting its first escalator.
Oh, how
In
exciting.
the Sears and Roebuck at that mall.
How exciting.
Yeah. Escalator. I'm like, we have 100-story buildings in our country.
And you're just getting an escalator?
You're just getting an escalator and bragging about it. Dude, like,
oh my God. That's funny.
But they were also one of those townships that got a Starbucks for 3 months before Starbucks said, hey, we're pulling stores out that aren't working, right? They didn't have 3 months in that county. Anyway.
Well, we had a mall when I was growing up. It's called the Montclair Plaza Mall. It was all one story with the two big stores on each side that were the only ones that had the 2 stories.
Yeah.
And that was like JCPenney's and Nordstrom. And it was full of stuff and shopping and everything. But as a teenager, that's where we hung out. I mean, that's where we spent our day. There was a movie place there. So in those days, when you bought a movie ticket, you could stay in the movie and watch it 3 or 4 times. You didn't have to buy another ticket. So we'd be in movies sometimes and just sit there all day watching the same damn movie. And because, it was hot out, we had nothing else to do. Why not? And so, or we'd walk around
the movie theater and you say to the people who sat down next to you, I know what happens next.
We would repeat the lines, and I had so many people that would do you mind? Oops, sorry. This is my 5th time. Sorry. I mean, and the thing is we picked up we flirted with boys. We ate. I mean, it was our hangout. The mall was the hangout. And now, I mean, here in New Mexico, they only have one mall in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and it's fairly big. It's not too bad, but believe it or not, it's fuller. It's not, and it looks like it hasn't been updated since the 80s, but it's fuller. It has more people in it than I've ever seen in the TO Mall, where they went in and they upgraded it and they spent all this money to make it look gorgeous, and it's dead. There's hardly anybody in that mall. But yet here they've got this smaller mall in this small town, and it's always packed. And people are buying. They're not just walking through, they're buying. But I don't know. I think it depends on the area. You never know. You never know. All I'm saying is maybe that's where they did the 300 participants, because they could find them. Because any other mall, it's like you'd get 50, maybe, if you're lucky.
Well, no, there was. I mean, I remember the malls we had in Pennsylvania. I mean, they had those survey companies had a place in the mall, and there's people would walk around with clipboards asking if you would do stuff.
I remember. And you'd get a few dollars, or you'd get an item afterwards, or you'd get some little tchotchke thing. Thanks for doing the souvenir. Here's your little keychain.
I mean, yeah. When I was a young kid, I mean, I wanted to do, they didn't have the surveys I wanted to do.
Of course not. What were the surveys you wanted to do?
Do you really want me to answer that question?
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah. We would probably get sued if we talked about it.
I don't know if we get sued. We might lose. Wait a minute. We live in a weird world. We might gain listenership. Maybe I should.
Yeah, you never know. The topic is juicy, very juicy. But moving into our resource today, the resource I've got today is WordFence. And
what is WordFence?
WordFence is a security plugin that's great for WordPress sites. And it goes through, and it will go through with malware and spamware and so on and so forth. And it'll keep your website clean, and it'll let you know if things need to be looked at or if you need to change anything. Because the problem that a lot of people don't realize when they set up their website is they set it up and they forget it. But if you're not maintaining it and you don't have things in place to do that, all of a sudden your website goes down because the plugin hasn't been updated, or because WordPress platform hasn't been updated, or because somebody's now hijacked it because they see, oh, nobody's doing anything on it, so let's hijack it. Mm-hmm. So you have to keep maintaining your website whether you want to or not. you spend all this money to get it up. Why not keep it maintained just like your car? You're not going to let your tires go bald. You know, you maintain it so that it keeps taking you from place to place. That's the same thing with your website. And WordFence is a really great security piece that helps you keep your site secure on the back end. So that way you'll get some peace of mind.
Everybody wants a piece of something.
Yeah.
Some of us want peace of mind, but
Yuck, yuck, yuck. That was a good one. Everybody wants a piece of something. I like it. Yeah.
As David Lee Roth said, everybody wants some. I want some.
Everybody wants something. So, and I know our schedule is going to change a little bit because of you moving. So
I know it's all up to me again. I know.
Yes. Yeah, because you're moving, and then I'll probably be moving in September. But you know what? Hell or high water, if I have to do it on my phone, I'll do it on my phone because that's how dedicated I am to this show.
Okay, so we were on episode 38. When was our first episode? Do you remember? When did we first start this?
Oh my gosh!
Hold on, I'm going to go to our YouTube channel real quick and see because it'll show me.
Because we do it every Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 4 Thursdays usually in a month. Sometimes 5.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it for a year now or more.
I'm trying to think
we
of how
started it during the recession, not recession. During COVID. When everybody was shut down.
But I can't find our original. I'm gonna have to go to our YouTube channels and trying to find it. So we could use more YouTube subscribers because if we actually got more YouTube subscribers, we can get a custom channel.
And you know what? I'm going to be sending some things out so people know more about where to find us and so forth because we're the best kept secret.
Yeah.
The shit's good, people. Shit's good. I'm just saying.
So, and I don't have our YouTube channel is not the greatest set up, but I'll get it set up better, put some different things onto it and stuff. But I show episode 9 as 11 months ago.
Yeah.
So.
About a year. Yeah.
So we're creeping up on a year because I know it was we were doing the planning on what we were going to call it when I talked with Gladys to start my podcast with Gladys. So, and people even ask me my Tim Gillette show. I have not done a show since like April, and I probably won't be doing one again until September. So, but yeah, it's like we've been doing this for almost a year now, but we missed a year now at 38, so we must have missed a couple of them to be at 1 year.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
I think we did because of things in between or life,
Life
happens. Life happens.
Yeah.
Is that what they say? Shit happens.
Well, let's do some plugs for our businesses and and let this thing. First of all, the businessgspot.com is actually up and going, but it is not perfected. Be sure to like us on Facebook. Oops, why is it that my tickers don't work the way I want them to?
Doesn't that tick you off?
It does. Hold on. Be sure to follow us on Facebook if you're not already. Right. But then we can actually talk about businesses. All right, we can go to this one here, which is you.
KG Website Designs, where we help overwhelmed entrepreneurs make money with their website.
Mm-hmm. Want
to make some money? Give us a call. And
want to learn how to market it? Go to simpleeasyevents.com. That's simpleeasyevents.com. Where September, our next virtual event will be September 16th. September 16th.
Wow.
And we are looking for speakers now for September 16th. We will have 2 at minimum, maybe 4 if we actually get some good people coming in. So
we'll talk offline.
So anyway.
We'll talk offline.
In the meantime, all right. Thank you guys for coming out each week, and we will see you guys next week.
Ta-ta.